Kia ora and welcome everybody. Thank you for attending the first of 3 webinars supported by Pacific Trade Invest New Zealand. So today we're aiming to help Pacific food and beverage exporters understand the opportunities and the challenges that come with potentially entering into the New Zealand supermarket industry. We've broken the series down into 3 pieces, and the first session today is understanding the New Zealand market and the FMCG landscape. Basically, the New Zealand market is a developed market, but it's a bit smaller. It's a great place to start learning about how to work in supermarkets. They dominate the food and beverage sales space. FMCG, fast-moving consumer goods, usually means packaged goods, higher volume, lower price point, shorter shelf life. These are some of the places that you would find FMCG products. I thought I'd pop in the non-FMCG retailers just as an example of what FMCG is not. And saying that, you might find some FMCG products in some hardware these days. An example would be in Mitre 10 and Bunnings, they also sell pet products. New Zealand supermarkets are about 5% of total industry. They are the most frequent touch points. So the size of the New Zealand FMCG market, $40 billion estimated at 2025. The supermarkets own about 70% of that total. Costco is one of the new supermarkets in New Zealand. They're estimated to be worth over $300 million, which is only 2 years later. It's a great place for selling bulk products by pallet load, but it is harder to get into. There's 2 big players in the New Zealand market, Woolworths on one side and Foodstuffs on the other side. Woolworths breaks down into another banner, which is Fresh Choice, and Foodstuffs have 2 separate business units, so North Island, South Island. And below that, they have 4 different banners. Woolworths in New Zealand, it's what we call a corporate, and it is owned by Woolworths Australia. Foodstuffs is a cooperative. And what that means is, unlike Woolworths, who is owned by a private entity, the co-op is owner-operated. They call New World, Pack and Save and Foursquare the banners. So the difference between New World and Pack and Save is Pack and Save's motto is New Zealand's lowest prices. You should be able to shop at Pack and Save and get products cheaper. This particular store here, which is Pack and Save in Albany in Auckland, they have an aisle for international products. The Foursquares are more convenience. One of the things about Foodstuffs is that they are still owned by its store operators, and this is the good part for people entering the market. It means that it's potentially a bit easier to get your products into the stores because a lot of the decisions are made at the store level. If you want it to be sold in a Woolworths, you have to go to the support centre. Another interesting fact actually is that Woolworths, they're investing in the owner-operator model that's running here in New Zealand, and that's called the Fresh Choice brand. And supermarkets are the big league, basically. They're very prominent. They dominate the market. Ethnic supermarkets are in growth in New Zealand. So, it's such a good place for some products to start and grow and then move through into supermarkets as well. So what the retailers expect, they want quality product. You should absolutely meet the food safety and New Zealand labelling requirements. You should absolutely have consistent supply and then also accurate product data. They want products to meet customer needs. You must be competitive and then also meet margin requirements. They always want to win share of market. If you can help them win that share, they're always going to be interested in talking to you. They also like to see more brand support for products that are coming into New Zealand or that a distributor or a supplier is presenting to them. They don't want just any old product coming to the market. They want you to grow your brand. So pricing, the cost is important. It's important to them that you know what you will sell your product to the retailers for. Make sure you understand how the retailer calculates the cost. You can recommend the retail price, but it's really up to them about how they set it. Make sure that you understand the competitor set. If you have a can of coconut cream and someone else has a can of coconut cream in the market, make sure you know what the others are selling it for. Depending on the type of product and the effectiveness of your promotion, you may or may not be asked to negotiate promotions as part of your commercial negotiation. The retailers also have a lot of data, and data is really helpful when you're selling a product to the retailers, but also to the stores. The other thing that matters is sustainability and corporate social responsibility. It's about making sure that you have fair treatment of your workers, making sure that you're not causing more harm or damage to the environment or the ecosystems, and also supporting local communities or vulnerable communities. It's very important to private label here in New Zealand. The other thing retailers like to know is global trends. How do those global trends relate to your product? Interestingly, these ones are coming to the fore if they haven't already. Some of them are quite staple. And what the shoppers care about also, right now in particular, is lower prices and clear value. Healthy and economical shopping, easy meal solutions. So basically everything in one bag, ready to cook. Shoppers also care about trusted brands. So Pam's, for instance, which is Foodstuff's private label option, is one of the most trusted brands in New Zealand, as is Whittaker's and many others, Watties, etc. Where Pacific products can win, they can win with their uniqueness and the quality of your product, the heritage, the story behind the products, and they can be niche, but they should be scalable. Let's say a few supermarkets to a whole banner. If you need support in this space, it's probably good to talk to consultants, distributors, retailers, or the likes of people at Pacific Trade Invest. Is the New Zealand market right for your product? You can be very targeted about where you sell your product. So it's something that you should do a little bit of due diligence on. Is your product compliant with New Zealand laws, with retailer requirements, MPI, labelling, and food safety? You need to be able to support yourself and your brand while it grows, especially when you're moving into another market. People need to be aware that sometimes if it's not the right product and there are no sales, then it's just not the right product, or it's not the right time, or it's not in the right place. Weak pricing models. So weak pricing models are always going to get you in trouble. If you are not absolutely confident about your numbers, then you need to re-review them. Make sure that it's right. You've got to be on top of it quickly all the time. Your value chain should, as you go through the steps, incur costs, but also add value. Inaccurate costings will be costly. The cost can be split into two different parts: cost of goods sold and then cost to serve. So cost of goods is the total cost that it takes to make one unit of product. As you are doing your pricing and reviewing the costs to your business, make sure you are looking at these 6 key areas at least. We are pulling together a tool that can help in that space, and we will be sending it out at the end of the 3 webinars. Cost to serve, we also have another tool here. So what does it cost to actually sell your product? Once you've made it, how do you take it from outside your gate into a supermarket? What is the cost involved? What we found common from last year's retailer engagement program was that the easiest and best way was to find and source a partner here in New Zealand who already has strong relationships with retailers, and then the ability to move your product from you through them into stores. And then to have a successful journey, due diligence is important, right? The path to market. How will you get your product from where you are to where you want it to be? So are you retail ready? We have had some examples where there were claims and those claims could not be certified, and therefore, unfortunately, we lost an opportunity. Trial your product in the New Zealand market. So I know that Pacific Trade Invest has assisted some brands with trialling their product in market. There are a number of food shows here in New Zealand, so CNI Expo, and then there are 3 major food shows. Christchurch has already been, Auckland and Wellington are coming up. Where are you going to sell it? Who are you going to sell it to? How will you do that? We're going to set up a checklist to help start you all off, available to you at the end of the 3rd session. key takeaways from this particular session. If it excites you, you might be the right kind of exporter for working with us as the part of the retail engagement program. Come back next week for session 2. That really gets down into the nitty-gritty of the how-to. Anybody out there who's got some questions?
What are the kinds of discounts we're talking about for food items when we know we have a sense of what is the retail price?
Good question. Thank you. It depends on the retailer, the category, and obviously each retailer's, requirements within their own strategy and within their business. And also pricing profiles. Generally be somewhere in the realms of anywhere between 30 to 45% margin. But again, that's very dependent on where you're selling your product. Could you share standard and specific quality requirements by supermarket suppliers need to comply with in order? I wouldn't say there's an actual standard. It does depend on your product. And then you have to go and find that information from the likes of MPI.
Do you feel that for a company, it's better to come to New Zealand and have a look at the market?
Great question. Thank you. I would say come and talk to the experts first to assist. And then if you can, also come into market, right? You're never going to have as good an understanding as standing in front of the shelf in New Zealand. With growth of online sales, will it be a better option for small exporters to sell online versus via a drop shipper? It is an option for everybody, but it's something that you need to explore, I think. And then again, the costs involved versus the benefit versus the return. Where can I get information on market demographics by supermarket, for example? I would like to know where you have more Fijians and Pacific Islanders. I think we could probably dig up some of that information for you and share that. We will take that question away and find some information for you.
Perhaps not so much of a question, but I wanted to take the opportunity to see if there was anyone on this network that would love to connect with me. I'm looking at some suppliers from the Pacific Islands in terms of taro and banana, green bananas to bring over to New Zealand. So
if you want to find Catherine, reach out to me or PTI and they will have her details for you. Feel free to send us any more questions later on if you have them. Otherwise, we hope to see you back here next week. Thanks, everybody. See ya.
Thanks, Sherrelle. See ya.
Bye.
Thanks, Sherrelle. Bye.